If you are going through sold comps and you see the big green slash through the price, that means that the seller accepted a best offer, but there's no way to tell how much that best offer is. There used to be a trick. It doesn't work anymore, but there is another way. Hey, welcome back to the channel. Let's jump right into some viewer questions. Hackerman asks, hey Justin, how do you go about finding garage sales? Good question. It is garage sale season. Garage sales are one of my favorite ways to source new inventory. But actually, I went to some pretty good garage sales this past weekend. Check out some of the stuff that I bought. I'm not going to talk through everything, but I did fill a nice bag with stuff here, as you can see. One of those is this Jim Shore letter L, I don't know, monogram thing, but Jim Shore is just a good brand to look out for. This thing's sold already. This brand new with tags, Lacoste hat, I paid $2 for it. Has a price tag of $29, as you can see there. This camera was the best find of the weekend for sure. Coolpix S8000. It was in the 50-cent pile at a garage sale, if you can believe that. This thing's worth about $150, so can't believe they were giving it away for 50 cents. Got some Doc Martens here that are in a little bit rough condition, but some leather cleaner will make them shine up and look brand new. These things are worth probably $50 to $60. I bought them for $4. Also got this 8-piece ring security system for $30 at a garage sale. This thing already sold as well, so we'll talk about that here in our top 10 sales. Also bought a big stack of Levi jeans. Normally wouldn't buy something like this, but they were all the same size and the same style, 505s, and so I'm going to lot them all together into one lot of all 6, and I'm sure I'll find somebody who wants to buy them all. And the way that I find garage sales are a couple ways. First, I have some well-worn paths that I always drive every time I go out to garage sales that are really local to my area. These are typically main roads, thoroughfares that have a lot of neighborhoods branching off of that thoroughfare, and there's just constantly garage sales in those neighborhoods. And those houses do a pretty good job of putting out signs. Sometimes I go out and I don't even do any research at all. I just go drive down those roads and know that there's going to be plenty of garage sales to find. Every once in a while, I'll do some research. For example, I use one called Yard Sale Treasure Map. I think it's for iOS and Android. This app used to be really good back in the day because it used to pull from Craigslist as well, but I think they lost, I don't know. I'm not sure what happened. I think Craigslist kicked them off their platform. Typically, I do find quite a bit of garage sales on here. So if I'm going to an area I'm not familiar with, or I just want to try somewhere new, I'll pull up Yard Sale Treasure Map and find garage sales that way. I also sometimes use Facebook Marketplace, but to be honest, it's really annoying to use Facebook Marketplace because a lot of people just don't put the required information, like what day or what time or what address. And then also just searching for garage sales on Facebook Marketplace, the algorithm sort of takes over and doesn't give you accurate results, and sometimes will show you things that are months old, and it's super unhelpful. Deborah Copeman asks, hey Justin, I have a question for you. I shipped a video game to someone with what appears to be a military base address back in March. The person reached out to me yesterday to say he never received it. However, the tracking shows it was delivered on April 3rd. How do I handle a situation like this? In good faith, should I offer a partial refund or just tell him he's out of luck? Thanks. So this is a tough situation. I've definitely run across this many times where an item shows is delivered and the buyer reaches out to you and says, I don't know where it's at, or maybe somebody stole it off my porch. And unfortunately for that buyer, there's nothing I can do. They're likely halfway across the country. I have no mechanisms to troubleshoot mail delivery issues. It's just out of my realm as a seller. There's nothing I can do about it really. And eBay kind of backs sellers in this scenario where if it shows delivered, you're off the hook. If somebody says that they don't get it, well, sorry, too bad. That's between the buyer and the post office. Sometimes I do feel bad though, and I will assist a buyer sometimes. I've gone as far as looking up, the local post office in their area and their phone number and saying, give them a call, talk to them. Typically they end up finding it. Sometimes it gets marked as delivered a day before it actually gets delivered, but I don't give refunds in that situation. I have no way to tell whether this person is genuine or not. And unfortunately, there's enough non-genuine people out there that they could just take advantage of you if you always were refunding people when they say they didn't get it. That's what I do. It kind of sucks sometimes. I've been on the other end of it too, where something I was supposed to be getting was not delivered and I had to figure it out. But, it's not the seller's fault. It's not my fault. It's not your fault. You got it in the mail on time. You got it there. It shows as delivered, and it's out of your hands at that point. So that's what I would do. All right, let's jump into my sales for the week. I'm going to be answering other viewer questions sprinkled throughout those top 10 sales, so stick around to see those. And by the way, if you have any questions for me, you can drop them in the comment section below, and I will answer them in next week's video. All right, so over the last week, I had a gross income of $989 and a net income of $565. I had an over 1,000% ROI, which is pretty good. Net profit margin of 55%, which is also good. Typically, my net profit margin is in the high 40s or low 50s, so this was a little bit of a better week in terms of net profit margin. Looks like I had 27 new listings and 25 sales. As you can see there, I typically sell 1-to-1. The amount of items that I list is roughly the amount of items items that I sell. That doesn't mean I sell everything that I list, but it just means I have a good mixture of new inventory coming in that sells pretty quickly and older inventory that sells more slowly, but that sells consistently. But I did not hit my listing goal this week. My listing goal is 5 per day or 35 per week. I only got 27 for this week, and so was not a super good reseller this week. I had some distractions throughout the week and didn't get as much listed as I wanted, but hopefully next week will be a little bit better. Average time to sell was 2 months, which basically means my inventory that did sell over the past week had an average age of 2 months, meaning between the time of listing and the time it sold. And I spent a total of $171 on new inventory over the past week. Coming in number 10 is this Fujifilm camera here. I buy these very, very regularly. I've probably sold 10 of them in the last 2 years alone. Typically find them at garage sales. They're usually around $5 when you buy them. Sometimes they come with film. I end up keeping the film and giving it to my daughter because she has a camera like this as well. But this sold for $37.98. That's $27.99 plus $9.99 in shipping. I paid $5 at a garage sale on May 6th of this past weekend, I guess, maybe 2 weekends ago. Net return, $23.19 for the 10th best flip of the week. That's a 464% ROI on that one. Coming in at number 9 are these Brooks running shoes. These are interesting. I bought these at a Dick's Outlet, which is a sporting goods store that was going out of business. They had an outlet store that was going out of business, and so they found some incredible deals there. This is one of those deals that I found. I paid $27 for the shoes. They ended up taking 5 months to sell for $67.05. So really, these didn't work out as good as I thought that they were going to, and they took a little bit longer to sell, but I still made $24.13, only an 88% ROI just because that purchase price was pretty high, and a low profit margin of 36% on that one. But I just, looking at these, I knew that they were going to be pretty good. The only thing I didn't like about them was the size. Size 13, typically sizes lower, like 9, 10, and 11 are going to sell a lot better. So size 13, just got to wait a while to find the right buyer who has large feet and also is going to want kind of a wacky design like this. So it took a little bit longer to sell, but still made $24 on it. This viewer asks, I've been reselling on eBay more seriously for a few months now, part-time. Is it worth promoting every listing? Is it necessary? So this is a very hotly debated topic. Some people really scoff at the idea of giving eBay even more percentages of their fees for promoting, and other people love doing it. They think it's really worth it. I'm of the camp that it is definitely worth it. I promote all of my listings at the bare minimum, 2%. Every single one of my listings gets 2%. I just find it very effective. I have an entire separate video about my promotion strategy and why I use it and why I think it's worth it. But I'll give you a sneak peek right here, which is the way I look at promoted listings is this, is if you're selling something for $100 and somebody gives you an offer for $98, 2% off, would you take that deal? And if you ask me that, almost every single time I would take that deal. And so that's basically the same thing as promoting your listings, is you're chopping off a small percentage of the money you'll take home in exchange for getting higher viewability of your listings. And so when it comes to selling stuff on eBay, the higher up in search results your listings show up, the better your chances are of selling it. Promoting your listings is a way to pay your way to the top of search results. It's very effective. It just, there's no question of whether it works or not. It definitely works. It's more of a question of whether you think it's worth it or not. But last year I did something like $80-something thousand in gross sales. Half of that came from promoted listings, and I spent about $800 on promoted listing fees. And so would those things have sold without promoting them? Yes, but they would not have sold as quickly. And so I just think it's a good deal. I don't mind paying 2% extra to get my items to sell faster. And I recommend that other people do the same. There are certain items where it does not make sense to promote it because promoting it is a way to get your listings to the very top of search results. And so if you're selling something that's one of a kind or that has no competition, there's no reason to pay to get it to the top of search results because you will be at the top of search results. And promoted listings also makes your listings show up in a variety of other modules around eBay, not including in search results. So there is some added benefit beyond just search results, but search results is the big one. That's where a majority of sales are coming from on eBay. It doesn't make sense to promote your listing if you're going to be at the top of search results already. Promoting your listing is also not going to create demand where there is none. And so if there's no demand for the item that you're selling, you could promote it at 100% and always have it at the top of search results. If there's nobody to buy it, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to create people out of thin air that are interested in your item. Those would be the scenarios where I would not use promoted listings, is if it's a rare, one-of-a-kind thing, or if it has zero demand. But if it had zero demand, I probably wouldn't be selling it in the first place. Coming in at number 8 is this Mountainsmith Lumbar Day Pack. So Mountainsmith's a pretty good brand of hiking equipment, backpacks, things like that. I got this in an estate sale for only $2 about a month ago. Got a lot of different Mountainsmith Did I say Mountain Hardware earlier? I always get this brand mixed up with Mountain Hardware. Anyway, Mountain Smith Lumber Day Pack. This thing sold for $39.98. Took about a month to sell. Net return of $25.59, over 1,200% ROI because that purchase price was so low. This estate sale was just super good. I think I have another Mountain Smith bag coming up here in the top 10 list as well. But yeah, this one made some pretty good money at $25.59. Coming in at number 7 is this Dogtra Elements replacement remote for a dog collar. I picked these up pretty regularly. This one was at a garage sale, only $1. I had the full unit, but I ended up splitting it into 2 and parting it out because I would make more money that way. So I sold both the collar and the remote here. I paid $2 total. Actually, I paid $3 total. I split it into 3. So the remote, the collar, and the charger. So all of those I split out into separate listings and selling them individually. This one went for $36.98. My net return was $26.15. That's a 2,600% ROI because that purchase price again was only $1. The full unit I paid $3 for, and I split it into 3. So this got $1 cost of goods for the 7th best flip of the week. All right, Daniel Bruce asks, if you end a listing and sell similar items in order to refresh in search, will eBay count that as a new listing? I'll preface my answer by saying that I don't know, and nobody knows. eBay knows, but nobody outside of eBay knows. Everyone is speculating, myself included. Personally, I've done a lot of testing with ending and relisting and selling similar, and I find that it does work. And it's also basically free. I mean, if you have enough listings, enough a free allotment of free listings, you can end and relist, and it's not going to cost you anything. If you don't pay for an eBay store and you're paying an insertion fee for every new listing, ending and relisting may not be worth it. But I pay for a store. I have a ton of listings, and so I do a lot of ending and relisting, and I just find it very valuable. I think that eBay does treat it as a new listing. I know for a fact that it gives it a new eBay item ID. It does appear as a new item in search. And I think that's why it ends up helping to boost sales, is because search does give preference to new listings. And so when you do a search for an item, sometimes you'll see at the top, new listing up near the top. They're going to bump those up. And if you have a listing that's been live for 6 months, it just may not be showing up near the top of results. And if you end that listing and sell similar, it's going to be treated as a new listing. And it's going to appear higher up in search results and have a better chance of selling sooner. And I just have a lot of anecdotal evidence of that happening. And so I do think it's worth it, and I suggest other people do it. Coming in at number 6 is this Cuisinart replacement bowl here. So y'all hear me talking about parting things out all the time. This was a full Cuisinart food processor unit that I bought at a garage sale just this past weekend for $5. I split it into 3 or 4 different listings. This one has a cost of goods of $1. It took 1 day to sell for $39.98. That's a net return of $27.57. I tested this thing. The full unit worked, but still I'm parting it out because it's just worth more money that way. And it's easier to ship, and it keeps more things out of the landfill as well. So people are just looking for lots of replacement parts for this, and they sell very quickly, and I make a really good money buying this stuff. I definitely recommend you pick up these Cuisinart food processors just to part them out. But yeah, that was the 6th best flip of the week. Coming in at number 5 is this vintage Tyco. It's a part to a race car track. And so I've been buying these. I've been seeing these at garage sales and stuff like that recently, where it's like an old from the 80s remote control car set. The good thing about this, again, is I don't need to make sure that the pieces are all there. I don't need to make sure it works, because regardless, it's going to be worth a decent amount of money parted out. And so this is parted out. This is just one chunk of the track that had a battery compartment in there. It made some noises. It was all tested. It all worked good. This one piece, though, sold for $49.98. I had a net return of $34.45. And so this is just one piece of probably 15 pieces that came out of a single box of a vintage racetrack toy that I bought for a total of like $4. These are just great things to look out for. People are looking for different pieces. They want to extend their track, or theirs is broken, or they're trying to put together a full set to sell for more and they're missing a piece. So there's lots of different reasons why people might buy different pieces of a racetrack like this. And I love parting stuff out like this. It just makes it so much easier. I don't need to count everything to make sure it's there. I don't need to make sure it works. I can just sell these individual pieces and be done with it. All right, Audrey Carlson asks, weird question about garage sales, estate sales. What's your process for carrying items while trying to look through different rooms and piles? I sometimes get overwhelmed and I'm still trying to figure out the best system. Some sales have hold tables, but even so, for large homes, I feel like a Sherpa with tote bags. Yeah, definitely. So, I don't have this problem at garage sales. Typically, if I'm shopping at a garage sale and I get enough stuff that I can't carry it, I just create a little pile of that stuff near the person running the garage sale. But estate sales, definitely, because you're walking around. I don't like to use hold tables either, because you never know if somebody's just going to snatch something off the hold table and take it for themselves. So I end up carrying a couple of IKEA bags, these big, giant blue IKEA bags, which I'm sure you've seen around. They can carry comically large amount of things. But, I'm still lugging it around like a Sherpa like you are. And so I don't really have any better way to do it other than that. Sometimes at estate sales, when I fill my bag, if there's still good stuff, I'll go up and I'll pay. And then I'll just take that stuff to my car and then come back and do another round. That's also helpful to understand how the estate sale is pricing things. And so last time I was at an estate sale like this, filled my bag pretty quickly, knew I was going to want to do another round. So I just went up there and paid for the stuff, and they had no prices on anything. And you never know, are they going to be charging a lot for stuff, a little? Turns out this estate sale was just trying to get rid of stuff. And so that told me, okay, I'm going to start buying more stuff because they're not going to be charging much at all. And so it has that added benefit to kind of go up and pay for it in batches and then come back. So that's what I do. Coming in at number 4 is another Mountainsmith piece here. This is a bike cube. So this is a bag that attaches to a bike somehow. $2, same estate sale, $59.98 for the 4th best flip of the week. I ended up netting $36.35, an 1,800% ROI and 61% net profit margin. Again, Mountainsmith's a good brand. I always get it mixed up with Mountain Hardware. Not as good as Mountain Hardware, but still pretty good. Took about a month to sell, but not bad at all. And still, 4th best flip of the week, made $36 on it. Coming in at number 3 is this vintage Pyrex coffee pot percolator. So y'all have watched the channel before. You've seen me sell this exact percolator before. I think it was a few months ago. So when I saw this at a garage sale, they wanted $30 for it, actually. I ended up talking them down to $19 on it just by buying a lot of other stuff and lotting it together, and they ended up giving me a deal on everything. $30 was pretty expensive for this thing at a garage sale. Almost would not have been worth it, but at $19, I sold it for $84.98, and my net return on that was $46.54. The reason I wouldn't pay more for this thing is it is a very delicate piece. It's very difficult to pack and has a high likelihood of being broken en route. This one did make it on time and intact, and we got some good feedback because my wife is so good at packing stuff. She's so much better at it than I am. Yeah, let's see. I sold this one not that long ago. Let's take a look here. Yeah, so I sold it 4 months ago also. That one I got for $6, and it sold for the exact same amount, $84.98. Yeah, this one took 4 days to sell, but the one I sold today or this week took 7 days to sell. So these things are just really good. Keep an eye out for them. They're very much in demand, and they make a good amount of money, but they are a little bit difficult to ship. Mad Max asks, how can we see the secret final sold price on best offered items for our evaluation purposes? Sometimes most of the comp sold prices will have that dumb green slash through them, so I will never know what it truly sold for on average. This is a really good question, and I think there's a lot of sellers out there that don't know how to find out the real sale price of an item when it is sold on offers. So if you are going through sold comps and you see the big green slash through the price, that means that the seller accepted a best offer, but there's no way to tell how much that best offer is. There used to be a trick, it doesn't work anymore, where you could, in your browser, you could hit view source on the listing and you would search for some tax related ID. I can't remember what it was exactly, but in the source code of the listing there, it would tell you what that actual price was. That no longer works anymore, but there is another way, and that is to use Terapeak. And so what you can do is if you go through your search results, for example, I'm going to pull up, I'll just do a random search here. Yeah, for Adidas Alpha Bounce. This is a pair of shoes that I sold, a couple weeks ago. And let's just find one here that has a green slash through it. So here's one, $89.94, best offer accepted. So it sold for no more than $90 basically. What you can do is you can copy the title here. Then you're going to want to open up your seller hub like this, and you'll go over to research and into product research. This is Terapeak, and you can search for that exact title just like that. Scroll down, make sure it says sold there, and you will find one result right there, and it sold for $80 right there. Fixed price $80. So you can see here, $89.94. This person took a best offer of $80. So nice little trick there, really helpful to find out the price of an item that was sold on best offer. Coming in at number 2 is this vintage Mark Martin Valvoline satin jacket. So I found this at that same estate sale with all those Mountain Hardware bags. This thing, I got a $2 cost of goods on it. This was super clean. It's really rare to see a nice vintage piece like this with literally no problems, no stains, no tears, no rips, nothing. It was just a beautiful jacket. It sold in about a month for $64.98. That's $49.99 plus $14.99 in shipping. The net return was $48.48. Any vintage satin jacket like this typically is going to be worth it, especially if it's in some, if it's a sports team, or in this case, if it's NASCAR. This is NASCAR, right? Yeah, NASCAR. Definitely pick them up if you see it, especially if they're in good condition, especially if their cost of goods is so low, like $2. $48.48 for the second best flip of the week, a 2,400% ROI on that one. That leaves us with number 1, this new Ring Alarm 8-piece home security system. I got this at a garage sale just this past weekend. I paid up a little bit for it, $30, but I knew it was going to sell very quickly, and I knew it was going to sell for quite a bit. And I did price this one to sell, and so I wanted to get it out of the door. I was kind of having a slow week, and I wanted to make some money, so I priced this one a little bit low. They were going for about $115, $120, so I priced this one at $103. It sold in 2 hours. I made $55.84 for the best flip of the week. Ring is just a great brand. This thing was new in the box, had never been opened. I knew the value of it. I knew the demand was very high. The sell-through rate was very good. So to pay $30 a garage sale may seem like a lot, but it's really a no-brainer when you look at the numbers because you know it's going to sell quick and for a certain amount of money. I knew I was going to make at least $50 very quickly, and that's what happened. Let's take a look at the worst flips of the week. I'm just going to flip net return around for the last 7 days. Looks like I had a sale for $1.43 net return. Had a video game that sold. I only made $2.19. I also sold a Hallmark American Girl doll for $17.99. I only made $6.04 on it. But yeah, overall, decent week, $989 in gross income, $565 in net income. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you missed last week's episode, click here to watch it now. If you like these videos, I do them every week, so hit that subscribe button and join me next Monday. Thanks, and see you soon.